Welcome to the podcast where relationships, confidence, and determination all converge into an amazing, heartfelt experience. This is Speaking from the Heart.
Welcome back to episode number 129 of Speaking from the Heart. And man, I almost didn't have enough energy to do this episode today. It was really exhausting for me to be able to do this because my energy level has been so low lately. And I'm wondering if you relate to that. Because when we have fading energy, we have to somehow overcome the odds to be able to achieve not just that greatness that we want in our lives, but just to make it through the day. Ugh. I know that it can be very depressing, maybe even demoralizing for that matter, to try to overcome all these different things that are happening in your life, especially with all the demands. You might have children always asking you for something. You might even have your wife or husband always asking you for something. Maybe even your boss, the most difficult of all people, always asking for something, even at 9 o'clock at night, when you should be off the clock. First off, why are you even checking your email or your phone? And also, why are you allowing that to overcome you? Make you feel so overwhelmed, but at the same time, not being able to achieve what you should be achieving. You're not a robot. You're a human being. So today, I want to bring you back to reality to make you understand that you are a human, but also try to take on that level of responsibility in a whole new different way. Because I know that you should have that all-important rest. Now, I have to be a little bit of a hypocrite because I struggle with this quite a lot myself. I have so much to do, so little time to do it in. But at the same token, it's because I'm not balancing my time. I'm not handling what I should be handling very well. And as a result of that work-life balance that I try to have can be very overwhelming. It's almost as if I'm more of a robot doing more work than I'm actually living my life to the fullest. And that's my fault. It's my fault because I know that I need to be able to understand how to actually manage my time better. But it's also the fact that I have these spells of just feeling so unproductive. It allows me to just zone out and not make me feel like I'm worthy of doing all this work that I need to accomplish. In other words, I'm really a couch potato and I don't want to do anything at all. As a result of all of that, it makes me not only very weak when it comes to addressing all these different things that I have to do on my task list, but it also makes me feel like the energy in my body is escaping me. Now, I will say, and even people that I work with in the fitness industry would tell you, the biggest component of it is about the food that you put in your body. If you are putting junk food in your body, even drinks for that matter, like soda, candy bars, things with high sugar, high carbs, and you're not burning it off and you're not exercising regularly, even 30 minutes every other day, you're not doing yourself any favors. As a matter of fact, you're creating some of the worst versions of yourself by just putting off that inevitable feeling of crappiness inside of you. And I've been there, done that, and I'm still a work in progress, even as I continue to work on myself and others. But I have to acknowledge that not everyone that you talk to has this grandiose image of perfection. And it's okay if you're not perfect. It doesn't mean that you have to have this demand of perfection. And I even have had clients that I've talked about this very subject, that it's okay to not always be performing at the top of your game. When we are always trying to strive for perfection, and we're always trying to strive for always doing all these things that we have to do, it actually can become quite overwhelming. Why wonder we have fading energy? Why wonder that we have to try to keep pushing through? Many industrial nations have even instituted policies that ensure that workers are not contacted after their assigned work hours. We even have truck drivers in the United States that are only allowed to work a certain number of hours before they must take a mandatory break. All these things are because we can overwork ourselves to exhaustion. And by being exhausted, you set yourself up for not only eating bad things and consuming bad things in terms of material, but you also are having some massive health consequences that many of my clients have even experienced. Some of them have been even working with me, and then they do have a health scare because they have been overworking and they have been super stressed out about all the things that have been going on. But it isn't because of me, and it isn't because of what we're working on together. It's because of all these other external influences. And they even have told me that working with me has been a big blessing. Don't believe me? Go check out some of the reviews of my business, Your Speaking Voice LLC, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But this isn't about an episode of me preaching about my business. I want to preach you. I want to be able to preach to the high heavens about why you should start working on yourself. And all that energy that you have bundling up inside can be used in a much more productive way. Here's a suggestion that I have even worked with one of my clients about that might be helpful for you. I think that especially here in the United States, we always feel like we have to work at this high echelon level of always performing at our maximum best, being an A student, if you will, to put it in a grade school terminology. Every time we think that we have to reach the level in which we are getting a 100% on our paper, it means that we are overdoing it. Yes, you heard me. We're overdoing it because we're looking at just always achieving that greatness. When greatness doesn't come from getting A's, it might be actually taking a break. It might mean relaxing, escaping from the various attitudes, perceptions, and beliefs that oftentimes happen in our lives, and having that much-deserved rest to be able to enjoy what life has to offer. All those things allow us to feel a lot more comfortable, not only about our existence, not only about the things that might push us back, but it allows us to have the maximum drive when we're ready to take it on again to be able to do a lot better. I think that we also have to look at the perspective of it's okay to be a B student, maybe even a C student for that matter. And remember that C can be for average. At least that's how it was for me when I went through school. Having a C grade meant that you were average. And I think that we always have to strive for just being average as our baseline and seeing what it means to be overcoming that. It's almost like looking at an employee performance review for that matter. Whether you're doing things satisfactory or not means that you're doing just the minimum. The things that are okay to do as the minimum means that you're at least meeting the expectations of the position. Time and time again, I always think that people have this assumption that if I was to get a commendable or outstanding on my employee performance review, that it means I have to go above and beyond. And I will admit that I try to do that because my perfectionist tendencies tell me that I have to be at the very top. I must reach that outstanding, and anything less is unacceptable by my own standard. But that's the question that we all have to ask. Is that really a realistic standard? To always be getting an A when we might not be having a great A day. I know that for many of us, that seems very radical. And that radical nature of exploring what it looks like to be a B or C student can be very scary. It can mean also demoralizing ourselves to think that we have to be a little bit less when it comes to all the things that we have going on. But if you think about it, all the things that we might do, we will never be able to do as an A student because we don't have the right equipment, the right tools, if you will, to be able to accomplish those tasks in mind. Take it from me. Somebody that I thought was going to go and be a lawyer. I thought I would be able to learn all these legal mumbo-jumbo concepts when I realized that it takes a great mind of critical thinking and an aptitude to expand yourself beyond the possibilities of reality. That made me realize that sometimes being a lawyer, although you might have many jokes that you think about when you're listening to this about lawyers, are actually pretty shrewd people that understand how the basis of certain systems work to their favor and their client's favor for that matter. We're not robots that have to be on maximum overdrive every single time because even robots require maintenance. They require downtime so that they can be lubricated, preventative maintenance can be done, and making sure that everything that they're supposed to be doing is actually being done at the level that it should be occurring at. We can't always be at our maximum overdrive. There has to be a distinction between what is really acceptable and what is not. Think of it this way. If you really think that you're going to be great at having a relationship with someone, it doesn't turn on like a flip of the switch. It rarely happens. That's where magic of the movies and film, which we've even had some guests on this show that have been actors and actresses in the backstage talking about this concept. But even with all those things said, we can't always assume that things will happen with a flip of a switch, or the snap of fingers for that matter. We have to manage the expectation of being able to do things from a base level in which we are evaluated on, and make sure that we're making incremental progress towards that direction, which can take time. And for some people, can take more time over others to be able to achieve. If you are one of those people that thinks that you always have to be at an A level, especially if you have never done something before that you're being asked to do, that's unrealistic. And you need to pause that thinking to ensure that you don't ever walk down that path. We're all entitled to a period of rest. And being able to achieve that rest means that we might be sacrificing some of the gain that we might be able to have, but to also realize that the solace of being able to enjoy what life has to offer can recharge our batteries, allow us to perform that preventative maintenance, and allow us to become that A student in the long run. We don't have to always perform at a high level. It's okay to be a B or C student, and we need more of those B and C students, especially when it comes to not only maintaining what we have to achieve, but also being able to work in a society that manages those expectations as well. So if you are a boss and you are very hard on someone, I want you to rethink what you might have been stating and whether that was really the truth of what you felt about that employee. Is it really something that they should have done? Or maybe they were just learning for the first time and they were able to achieve what that success looks like by just working on themselves, being able to grow and prosper from the variety of different opportunities that exist. It's not easy to be able to achieve greatness, but by achieving greatness with work and life, you're going to be able to achieve so much more than just what is on the surface. In other words, some of the most inherent skills, the secrets in which many of the most successful leaders of our time were able to do, were done by the fact that they were able to have a work and life balance. Having this on the forefront of our minds, that we should have that success factor in mind, means that we also have to look at what it means to be a B or C student and be able to make progress towards becoming an A student. But it's okay to fall back on the B and C standards from time to time. We're all entitled to not just having that rest in our lives, but we also have to understand that to perform at the most optimal level means that we have to have a number of factors in play. Having the right amount of money, having the right people surrounding us to make us feel better about the choices that we're making, let alone having those successes in our belt so that we can point to them, saying that other people believed in us. This is not an easy task to do, but when you are feeling so worn down that you can't do anything, it's time to reevaluate what your choices are. Because when you do that, you're going to overcome the probability of being able to succeed. You're going to be able to challenge yourself in ways in which you've never been able to challenge yourself before. And you'll be able to understand and gain clarity as to what needs to be done in the first place, because you'll be able to have that chance to reevaluate what is on your task list, what makes you able to achieve that A status. But you're also going to be able to have yourself some space to breathe. We're so uptight, and that's why medical costs and even the mental health epidemic has continued to rage on. But we need to separate ourselves from the fact that it isn't just about social media that's contributing to it, let alone bad behaviors. A matter of fact, piss-poor behaviors that often contribute to the overall non-success of people. Sure, you need to have the right people, also have the right capital, but to also have the right situation play out so that you can have all those successes come alive. But you also need to put yourself into that equation as well. You're not a robot. You're not ChatGPT or Copilot, in which I can go on and compute all these different variables so that I'm able to be successful. No. That's not how it works. We're all human. And by having that energy to be able to focus and concentrate, like Mr. Miyagi was able to do in The Karate Kid, you're going to be able to crush all the different goals that you have in your life. You're going to be as successful as many of the guests that I've had on my show. But more importantly, you're going to have that self-actualization, that realization of the ability for you to escape from that overall feeling that you do not always have to perform at a 10 out of 10 level. No matter which way you look at it, no matter how many times it might take, you will get there. It's all a matter of pacing, progress, and persistence. Those 3 P's can help you with overcoming that fading energy and defying the odds, especially when you have the ebbs and flows of life changing you and moving you in a variety of different directions. It's okay if you get a C next time you get your paper, and it's okay if you have that B. That means you made progress. As long as you're moving towards that direction that you want to end at, that's what matters the most. Set yourself goals. Set yourself accountability. Push yourself into realizing that it's okay to take a break. But don't overdo it. But at the same time, do it for yourself. Because when you do it for yourself and you have yourself in mind, you will have all the energy that you will ever need to accomplish not just what you're setting out to do, but also achieve that ultimate greatness that other leaders before you have been able to achieve. Thanks for listening to episode number 129 of Speaking from the Heart, and I look forward to hearing from your heart very soon.
Thanks for listening. For more information about our podcast and future shows, search for Speaking from the Heart to subscribe and be notified wherever you listen to your podcasts. Visit us at www.yourspeakingvoice.biz for more information about potential services that can help you create the best version of yourself. See you next time.